एव च जिगीषाया सुरम वराब्ध अन्यो नाम अभिजानौ एवं गदाभ्याम गुरुभ्याम हरक्षो हरि एव च जिगीषाया सुरम वराब्ध अन्यो निम अभिजानौ. Synonyms: evam, in this way, gadabhyam, with their mace, gurubhibhyam, huge, haraksha, the demon haraksha, hiranaksha, hari, Lord Hari, eva, certainly, cha, and jigisaya, with a desire for victory, susam rabdho, enraged, anyu, each other, abhijanat, is stuck. In this way, the demon haraksha and the Lord, the personality of Godhead, struck each other with their huge maces, each enraged and seeking their own victory. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Haraksha is another name for Hiranaksha, the demon. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapadakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Vitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpataru Vescha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivash Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you so much for joining this Sangha. Today we are discussing three verses. The verses where Maitreya Muni is so beautifully, with so lovingly explaining to Vidurji. And here in the verse 16, out of these three verses, 16, 17, 18, he is referring to Vidura as O gentle Vidura. So Maitreya Muni is expressing the contrast between this gentle Vidura who is listening to fight. And this three verses is all about fight. So whenever we talk about fight, the fight gives a very negative connotation. But today we are going to discuss about what fight means to a devotee and what fight is exactly therefore. Is the fight positive? Is the fight negative? Or is the fight something we all should be thinking about? So here in this verse 16, just to give a brief background. So here the fighting is happening between Lord Varahadev and Hiranyaksha, and they are all fighting with their gada or the mace. And in this verse, so Lord is striking Hiranyaksha on the right brow, in the right side of the face. And the demon, Hiranyaksha, is expert in fighting, and he knows his moves, he knows how to duck, he knows how to use his gada or mace. So in this verse, Lord is giving a big round of thumb on the right side, Dakshinaksha, on the right side of his brow, and the demon is able to release himself and protect himself by the maneuver with the bow. So this fight is a very intimate fight. Its explanation, Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam is going into very personal explanation, and that's the reason why Srimad Bhagavatam is a live webcast or a live telecast of the fight which was happening millions of years ago, and it gives us impression that the fight is real for us. So going to the next verse, 17, and when these fights goes on, there is enough challenges, enough war cries. And here, Srila Prabhupada is using the word brandishing. Brandishing is all about, challenging, giving us a fight. In cricket, you think about sledging. Whenever a big fight or a duel is happening between a bowler and batsman, there is a bit of a brandishing or, sledging which happens. So here, personality of Godhead Varahadev is exhibiting his anger, and he's rushing to hit the demon. And now the demon, in a sense of up and down, in this words, there is a bit of a going down where he's biting his lips in rage, trying to duck, trying to affect the bouncer, and he's taking up the mace again, and he's repeatedly challenging, he's repeatedly brandishing about to Barahadev, he's challenging, is a verbal duel with a lot of sledging and exchanges happening between this. So the 17th verse is that duel and the brandishing all about. So we're going to discuss all of this together. And the next verse is actually here, Maitremuni is referring to Hiranyaksha as Haraksha. And this is exactly what Srila Prabhupada is explaining in his purport. And the personality of Godhead, they are striking each other with the huge maces, and these huge maces are like, it has things pointing at it, with the sharp objects pointing at it, and each is enraged.
Am I sure? Yes. Yes. I just got up.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. If you're not speaking, you can mute yourself, and we will have discussion at 7 o'clock. So here, the Lord and the Hiranyaksha are striking each other with their maces, and each is enraged, seeking their own victory. So here, when the victory is sought, what kind of impression it's giving to a devotee or a Vaishnava, we have to recognize. Here, Lord is duty bound. Lord is seeking victory to showcase to his subsequent, generation and devotees that he is seeking this victory because he wants to establish the goodness over evil. He wants to establish the dharma. And that is the reason why the Lord is giving that sense of determination we all should possess in seeking victory. So with this entire gamut of 3 verses, let's try to discuss what exactly is meant in this verses, and try to assimilate, try to absorb as much as possible. So as you can see, Lord is trying to do a balancing act on the right, where he's saving Mother Earth from drowning from Garbhodaka ocean. So after the balancing act, when Hiranyaksha is challenging him, Lord and Hiranyaksha are fighting each other, and their gadas have sharpnel objects. It has got sharp objects pointing out, so that when the hit happens, it really causes a lot of bloody damage to the other person. Blood comes out, and there's a violent activity, and this fighting is happening in the ocean, in the Garbhodaka ocean, as you can rightly see on the right. So with the mace, Lord is striking the enemy on the right, and Lord is hitting him on the right side. And now Hiranyaksha is maneuvering it, and then he is sledging and brandishing, and then both are enraged, both are trying to hurl, lalkar and all these things, so that they are all seeking their own victory. So here, when you think about it, Lord is very much duty bound in trying to showcase the fact that he has a duty in hand, and he has to show to the generation ahead that there has to be a victory of righteousness over evil, and for that he is trying to protect his devotees and gain respect. So here Lord is protecting with the duty or the varnashram ashram in perspective where we all are duty bound based on our varna and ashram, as a grihastha and as a householder who is trying to do sadhana and trying to maintain our Vaishnava culture, Vaishnava attire, Vaishnava sadachar, and at the same time do our chanting of the round. And then, so we are all duty bound in our own way. And Lord here is expressing that he is duty bound, and we all should be duty bound. And whenever there is a need to fight, to protect, if somebody holds abuse at a devotee, we have to protect the devotee from somebody who is enraged. And so he is giving a very impression of, protection, self-control, gaining respect, duty bound. So there is a lot built into this three verses we all should take out. And whenever we are fighting, it should not be taken as we should not be fighting among devotees, of course. But whenever there is a need to protect, now you might have heard there are a lot of thieves who are really getting into the temples and causing mayhem and stealing accessories of the lordships. So the intent is to protect whenever there is a fight. And we have seen, in ISKCON, in Africa, in so many places, how our devotees have protected the movement, and how in Russia and so many places, how we should be duty bound in protecting ISKCON, the brand, the temple, the movement, and how we should not think that the devotee attitude is not something which is a meek attitude where you basically leave the situation with cowardice methods. The attitude of a devotee is standing for the truth. He is not hurling abuses, but he knows how to protect and how to gain respect, which is exactly what Varahadev is teaching us in this fight, that he has to gain respect by standing for the duty and for his duty. And here, Varahadev is duty bound. And then, as you can see in this fight, there is a sharp alertness between Varahadev and Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha, we must admit, is a fierce fighter, and he is a asura. He has demoniac tendencies, but at the same time, he is very sharp. As you can see, that whenever Lord is hitting him on the Dakshina side, in this verse 16, it is mentioned, he's hitting him to the brow, how he is using the mace to protect him and not get subdued. Right. So there is a sharp alertness which is happening. And this sharp alertness is something we all should take into our day-to-day life. We have to be alert in, protecting, alert in doing our duties, and we should not leave anything, anything which is, and we should be sharp, alert in attending events in time, not be delayed, or we should be we should not keep our temple in a shabby state. We should be alert in cleaning. If you are bringing something here, we have to take it away after the event is done, so that we don't leave the clutter. So we have to be alert in everything. Just because the alertness goes down, the so-called unfavorable situations, unfavorable people, they come into the temple, they they look for ways to kind of create problems and challenges for the current uh, devotees. So we have to be alert in everything. So here, when the fighting is happening, the alertness is something which is standing out. They're really fighting with a lot of alertness, and this is something we can learn from this verses. And when they're brandishing, as La Prabhupada is using the word brandishing, there is a lot of hurling of words which is exchanged. So it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, when the battle of Kurukshetra was going on, Hanumanji did not fight, but Hanumanji was expressing war cries at the time. So it was basically pumping Arjuna up at the time of fight. So whenever this battle of Kurukshetra happened, the mother of all battles, there was a lot of fight. There was a lot of, breaking of the neck, killing, bloodshed, And it is mentioned, very nicely by so many devotees. But at the same time, there was a lot of war cries which was going on, and that war cries gave the pumping up of Arjuna at the time of, killing, some of, at the time of killing Karna. There was a lot of, brandishing. There's a lot of things. So we can relate to that episode where, as a flag, Hanumanji is upstairs trying to motivate Arjuna in taking up the fight. And here, Maitri Muni is talking about how the brandishing is happening between two fighters. And another thing which we should recognize from this three verses where there is a lot of fighting uh, is Varahadev as the protector, as the general or the Senapati. He is trying to go about doing things. And this propensity of the general attitude, or the Senapati attitude, is very much evident uh, in our founding Acharya, who, with so much of difficulty, he just marched ahead, and he never uh, left back. And just reading an article where, when his son from his material life came to uh, sort of drop him, whatever money he had, whatever money which will not be useful, he gave it back to him, and he just left in Jaladuta, the freight uh, ship. And then, with so much of difficulty, with so much of difficulty, very little money, with very little connection, and the humility, when people are saying, congratulating Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Prabhupada, you're going to America, which is a big thing at that point in time. Now everybody is coming here. It was a big thing at that point in time. Srila Prabhupada, with so much of humility, said, I'm not really going to America. Srimad Bhagavatam, which we all are reading right now because of His grace, is going to America, and I'm just carrying it just like a general would carry. So generals have a role to play, and they're playing to safeguard the country. And here, Varahadev, as a true Senapati, as a true exemplification of a general, he is marching ahead to fight. So he's not looking back. He's having his duty bound. He's alert, and there's a lot of brandishing happening. And finally, this Senapati propensity is shown in this beautiful words. So here, the Lord is fighting to protect and gain respect for the subsequent generation. So when we talk about fighting, and there is one pastime I thought I'll just uh, share, because the fighting is often a trait of somebody who wants a good fight, because he wants to have that wrestling match. He wants to have that archery contest, because sometimes whenever tall um, scriptural scientists meet, they want to really discuss philosophy about scriptures, how they can put a point, and how the other person can put another point, and that's how the the match for literature or for the scripture happens. Likewise, a person who has a tendency to have the uh, the winnability or the fight, he really wants to fight with a good person. So Jambavan in Treta, when the fighting was happening, he was seeing Ram, shooting arrows at Ravana, and he was in Ram's side, so he couldn't really fight. So he had a very deep desire that someday, I would like, if I have to fight with someone, it has to be Ramji, because having a fight, having a good fight, having a good match is something very important in recognizing our skills, our values. So whenever you want to play a good game, you really want to play a game with a good opponent, so that at the end of the game, whether you win or lose, you really have a cherishment, or a fulfillment of the desire that you really have a good fight. So Jambavan had a deep desire, but he couldn't fight because Ramji was in his side. So how Ramji uh, recognized his desire and how he fulfilled in his subsequent life, we're going to touch upon, so that this fight should not be considered in a negative way. It should be considered as a matchup. So in the subsequent yuga, in Dwapar Yuga, we're talking about fight. So this is a pastime where the fight was taken to a very high level, and this is how Lord is fulfilling his devotee's desire. So in Dwapar Yuga, Satyajit had the Samantak jewels, and he gave it to Prasen, his brother, and he was the ruler of the Yadavas. So Prasan wore the Samantaka jewels, and when he was returning from the forest, he was attacked by a lion, and uh, and the lion killed him. And uh, and but in the meantime, when the lion was about to take the jewel, Samantaka jewel, from Prasan, who was wearing it after killing Prasan, he was met with Jambavan in the subsequent, because bears, they live long, and Jambavan had a long life. So Jambavan killed the bear, and then he took the Samantak jewel inside the cave. So in the meantime, the news blew that Lord Krishna, who had the Samantak jewel, and now Prasen has disappeared, and people were starting to accuse Lord Krishna that he has, taken the jewel. So in order to prove innocence, Lord Krishna, started venturing out in this hide and seek, trying to find out where the jewel is. He found that there is blood stains, and there is body of Prasen, and then from the footsteps it led to the lion, and from the lions was also killed, and from the blood stains that led into the cave, and um, then the fight between Jambavan, and that's how Jambavan met Krishna in Dwapar Yuga inside the cave, and then the fight broke out for the Samantaka jewels. And this fight was so tremendous that Jambavan just gave a fight. Jambavan wanted a fight because he hadn't had a good fight for so long. The desire to have a great fight was there, and he was just fighting, and the fighting went on for 28 days. And towards the end of the fight, Jambavan is realizing that, hey, I am fighting with somebody I really wanted to. And who is this person? Because nobody in this world can defeat me. And now, when he is getting to the end of the fight, and with his blood stains everywhere for 28 days, he's gradually feeling that when he's getting tired, he's realizing that I am fighting with somebody who is none other than Sri Ram. And then, and to the end of the fight, the Jambavan fell in the feet of Krishna, and there is they embrace each other, and he realized that the desire he had to fight with Lord Ram is getting fulfilled in a different yuga, with Lord Krishna giving a good duel and a good fight. So fight is part and parcel of life. It's not just have to be muscular fight. It had to be a trait where we safeguard our institution, safeguard our philosophy, and there's nothing wrong in standing for being duty bound. And here is an example of a good fight. And then Jambavan got his daughter Jambavati married to Krishna. And when you think about the culmination of the desire Jambavan had, fight with his master, got fulfilled in the subsequent yuga. And when you think about what Lord is trying to do here, is protecting Mother Earth and giving a big thumping to uh, Hiranyaksha, and and Hiranyaksha is trying his best to defend. And Hiranyaksha is also not a small fighter. He's just going to give a run for the money. And this duel is so beautifully explained with it's like a running commentary. You see or hear about in a cricket match exactly how Vyasudev has depicted through the conversation between Maitreya Muni and Vidurji, and that hearing those interaction gives us a lot to ponder and discuss about in this beautiful Kartik month, so that we learn and alter the ways we deal with our life. So with that, we could go on and on with this beautiful set of 3 verses, but we'd like to end here. If there is any question, comments, reflection, we can discuss if there is time. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. It's 7 o'clock. If anybody would like to conclude, please go ahead. Otherwise, we can chant. If there is announcements, someone can speak. Otherwise, we can end with our prayers. Simeswar Prabhu, you want to do the honors of ending the program? If Madhupad Prabhu is not there, I think.
Prabhu, why don't you conclude?
Okay. Thank you, Madhavi. So let's chant Nrsinga prayers and then do the Vaishnava Pranama. Jai Narsimha, Jai Narsimha, Jai Jai, Jai Narsimha, Praladeshu, Jai Padma Mukha, Ugram Veeram Mahavir,
Vishnam Jalantam Sarvatum
Krishna Krishnam Bhadram,
भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय।
Vanshakapataru Vishakripa Sindhuvaya, Vaishnava
की जय,
Madhavatam,
जय और पे हरि हरि बोल।
Thank you.
Thank you.